It's a great day for a Teague's take. I know you guys might be a little bit confused because it's a Tuesday this time instead of a Wednesday, but it doesn't matter. The takes are still good and fire. And today we got four hot topics with a bonus one that you guys are going to hear about. First, we got to talk about Tyler Buckner. What's up, CJ? Uh, Mr. Simpson and Miro. We got to visit that and see what's up with the Cowboys at the University of Alabama. And will Kevin Steele be successful as a defensive coordinator at Bama? He's got a long time with that. Well, what about Mr. Reese? Is he going to be okay as well? And then we got to talk about these SEC game schedule in 2024. And like I said, we got a little special one coming on that we're going to surprise our guests with tonight. We're supposed to have two guests. Mr. Howard Richards cannot be here tonight. He's flying from Portugal. He told us that he's late, and we understand it very much. But we do have the two people that we need to have on the show. I'm going to go ahead and bring them on right now. First off, JT, the co-host, my man, my son. Man, we're about to make a big trip tomorrow. We're going to be headed out of the country. And we're going to come back with some great stories about some football, some family, and some armed forces. I think that's going to be good to talk about. Y'all know JT, he's the analytical one. He brings the fire all the time. He gets the data and stuff. I shoot. I don't know if logical and analytical are the same thing. Probably not. So I'm going to say
They're
I'm
not.
probably a little bit more. Yeah. He's very analytical, and I'm probably more the logical one. I just got to
Mm.
shoot facts or whatever. But guess who we got on here? And I got to try to uh, be like him, I guess, a little bit because he always comes with the fire when he's introducing people on his show in his own words. He is the man. I don't know if he actually played football or not. He looked like he might have been doing something over there, telling coaches what to do and how to do it. Because Stephen M. Smith is full of knowledge, man. He is a content creator for the Touchdown Alabama magazine. He is a host of his own show in his own words, but he's also part of the Bama Standards. I think he's doing all kind of things, man. He's at the practices. He's getting information. You got to follow him. Maybe he'll tell you why he's got totally two different handles on Twitter and Instagram. Kind of a weird little story, but that's how he is. Because he's Stephen M. Smith and he brings the fire. He is very knowledgeable, and we're very excited to have him on. Give him a round of applause, JT. Yeah, yeah. So, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it pretty quick here because I want to talk about these quarterbacks because I don't know how much. Well, let me give you my take first, and then I'm gonna let Stephen Smith go, and then JT, you can talk about it. Okay. So at John Paul II, you guys know that I've been a coach for many years. I'm not coaching football right now, but there was a point in time where we had several quarterbacks. Um, the first thing we had to do was make sure that we got a good one at JP2, and Grayson James came in and really took us to a new level. As a Division One quarterback, helped to attract other kids and do all these things, and really took us to a good spot. And then from there, other quarterbacks wanted to start to come play for us because we were having success with our quarterbacks. I'm not trying to correlate this to Bryce Young and others, but it's kind of the same thing, right? You develop a Heisman quarterback, then people want to come play for you. All right, so you got these other guys. You got Milrow, who's on the wing. You got Thompson, who came, and now you got Tyler Buckner. Did we say Buckner or Buchner? What is it?
Buckner.
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 Buckner is in there now, right? So at JP2, we had this influx of quarterbacks that started to come after Grayson had left because they all wanted to be the next quarterback. So it became a problem for us as coaches because now we had to figure out, all right, are we fortunate that we have this many good quarterbacks? That's the first scenario. Or on the other end, did we have this many bad quarterbacks who were trying to find their way onto the field? Figured there was an opening, I need to go there. Or because of the guy that we had slated to come in, was he not panning out? So you needed to find another person to fill his shoes. So think about that with Alabama. First scenario, do we got three quarterbacks that are subpar and we're trying to figure out how to go? Or are we on the other end where we got three really good quarterbacks and this is just a good problem to have? Or is it that Milroe's not the guy that we thought he was going to be or that Saban thought he was going to be? So he's got to find another quarterback. My take is the latter. Milroe is not the guy that he thinks that he needs to be, and therefore it's probably going to be a two-man race, and one of those is going to be with Buckner. All right, Steven, where I go wrong?
Teague, I'm gonna agree with you right there. I'm gonna agree with you. But before I get into why I agree with you, I got a funny backstory. So I did play 3 years of high school football. I was actually somewhat of a utility player. I was on special teams a lot. There we go. There we go. There we go, JT. There we go. There we go. I knew it was coming. I
What
knew it was
does
coming.
utility player mean? Can you please explain what that
A
means?
utility, what does that mean? That means wherever they needed me at that time, that's where I was. Wherever they needed me at that time, that's where I was. If they
Okay.
needed me at outside linebacker, get out there. If they needed me at corner, they needed me some. If they needed me somewhere on the defensive line, I don't know why I was there. They put me there. I got like 5 tackles there one game. I can't believe that happened. Right? They put me everywhere. But to continue, the point of why I agree with you, Teague, is when you look at Milrow, and it wasn't that he was just god awful last year. The 2 games he played in, one, you're filling in for an injured Bryce Young against Arkansas. He shows you the athleticism with the legs, gets you up and down the field. He does get you 2 touchdowns. I think the A&M game, that game, a lot of hype was going into that matchup because in the spring you had Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher going at it about NIL, and Nick saying, "Hey, you bought your whole class." Jimbo calling Nick despicable and a narcissist, and all the comments that were made there. So there was so much buildup going to that game, and Bryce didn't play that game because of the shoulder. So here's Milrow, highly pressurized game here. Yes, he had the 2 forced fumbles. You got to protect the football. That's self-explanatory. But he did have 3 touchdown passes, so there is something there. I just feel like, from Coach Saban's perspective, he's like, man, well, I had Tua Tagovailoa, incredible passer. I had Mac Jones, one season as a starter, incredible passer. And now I just had Bryce Young, probably the best passer I've ever had in this program. And I look at a Jalen Milrow, that's not his strong suit. And when you look at college football, where you're going more to these high octane offenses, yes, we know Coach Saban wants to run the football. He's been talking about it for a minute now. But at the same time, Coach is like, my God, I just had Tua, Mac, and Bryce. I kind of don't want to give up this passing thing either. So I can see why you would go there, Teague.
I'm with you, but only thing I'm gonna disagree with you with that you said Milroe was not god awful. I think he was. I mean, I know he got loose with his legs and all that, but I don't know if you watched some of the passes that he was throwing. Man,
I mean, I mean, I mean that there was some moments, Teague. I was in the press box drinking a Sprite, saying, "Lord, help us all." There were those moments, right? I had some scared moments too. I ain't gonna sit there and lie about it. I had some scared moments too. I'm just sitting down.
well, I was drinking 7 Up, and then I added the other seven to go with it after I started watching some of the game.
Hey, 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 woo,
But
hey.
I guess what. So JT, what do you think, man? What
All
do you
right,
think about
so
this?
I've definitely come around on this from a long time ago. I do think it's kind of the latter. I don't think so. I'm gonna take what your thought is and kind of walk back just a little bit.
All
I
right.
don't know that it's that Coach Saban thinks that Jalen Milroe isn't what he thought he is. I think that he thinks that he isn't where he thought he would be right now.
Okay.
I think that he thought that there would have been much more of a progression on what's today, June 27th, than there has been. And I'm not sure that Coach Saban is saying that he can't get there. I think he might just be a little bit behind where he wanted to be. So that's why he had his comments saying he wanted to bring in another quarterback to foster more competition, because I think maybe there was some complacency going on now that Bryce Young has left the building and he wasn't coming back through that door. Some folks might have thought that that just meant the job was going to be handed to them, especially since they were the one that came in when Bryce was hurt. Now,
I also
go ahead.
I also look at this, JT, and just picking back off what you just mentioned there. I go back to the spring game, and there was so much anticipation when you look at the coaching staff and, of course, the Alabama fans from this recent spring game. They looked at that game as, okay, here's a moment where if Jalen Milroe is going to really truly separate, he has to do it here. And I felt like there were some good passes that were made, but I just look at the way Ty Simpson played in that spring. Ty Simpson had some bombs. Unfortunately, his balls were dropped. I mean, Jermaine Burton had a couple right in his grill, could have been touchdowns, and he dropped them. I mean, and then Ty Simpson showed his crazy leg athleticism to where he was pulling the ball down and running also. So I just go back to the spring. I can mention that Milroe not where Saban thought he would be at this point, because in the spring, you're thinking, hey, if you're going to want to separate and be QB1, here it is. And I don't think, from Saban's viewpoint, he saw Milroe truly separate himself out.
Okay. So
Hold on now before you go forward. I think the same could be said about Ty Simpson, because if Ty Simpson would have separated himself, then I don't think there's a need for Tyler Buckner to come in. So I think that's kind of a double-edged sword on both of them. I think it might be a little bit of an indictment on both of them that neither one of them actually did what they needed to do to prove the job. Now, but what I wanted to get to was, I think I've gotten a little bit soft on Jalen Milroe when it comes to his performance last year, and looking back at, there is a, like, if you go back to when Jalen was the quarterback, Jalen kind of had the similar, he wasn't airing the ball out either. Then Tua comes in, and then you got Mac, and then you got Bryce. And
he wasn't throwing the ball like this dude, though, man. His ball was in the dirt, man. You talking about Jalen? But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I think there's a couple of things of, like, I feel like Jalen, or not, well, they're both Jalen's. Jalen Milroe could have been helped out a little bit, but I don't think that Bill O'Brien had the tools to adapt to what Jalen Milroe's skill set was. Because if you have a quarterback who's not really adept at throwing deep balls, then that's not a Bryce Young offense, because Bryce Young every time, and Tua, and you didn't even have to see the receiver on screen. It's just like as soon as the ball came out of his hands, you knew somebody was open. But I think that Coach Saban kind of looked at what Georgia was doing and was like, hey, look, if they can win with Stetson Bennett twice, then I think we can if we can just get Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson throwing somewhat comparable to them and comparable to Stetson Bennett, and then add on an actual run game, we're going to be all right. But I think that it's very hard to remove Jalen Milroe in the conversation of potentially being the starting quarterback because of how fast he is. I think that he's actually the fastest player on the team. And if he can get to a point to where he's at least hitting medium and intermediate, or short to intermediate throws pretty well, and then when things break down, if you're trying to take a shot and then he can just take off and run, I think that's a skill that you can't coach. That's just talent that takes over at that point.
I mean, there were so many times, JT and George, that they would pan the camera to the press box, and there's Bill O'Brien with his hat on backwards, hand on his chin, flipping the play sheet back and forth, going, what should I call now? I'm like, Bill, you've been flipping the same play sheet for like 3 hours now. Like I'm looking at old being like, God, why is he here?
Well,
Why is he here?
well, look at it, man. If you're gonna play with someone like him, and I'm not making a comparison, totally, but think about what what were they doing with the Baltimore Ravens or Lamar Jackson when he's coming in there and he's just having to hit a tight end? Right? Yeah, I said Lamar. I got you, Calvin. I'm not going to talk about the Ravens that much up in here. It's your bar, but I ain't going to go here. By the way, we're at the Lantern in Plano, 6205 Court Road. Man, JT, I got a hidden gem in here today, man. Someone turned me on to something. I didn't even know they had it. So I'm in here. I'm sorry if I'm in your ear with this, but I got a BLT out here today. Threw that mayonnaise on there. Oh my God, this thing is scrumptious. It's that good bacon,
How did
too.
we
It ain't
get
no
from
that.
Lamar Jackson to a BLT? Somebody.
But anyway, because we're talking about bacon. So here's the deal, though. Guys, you guys have said something, a whole lot of stuff. And I think they all been great. But here's what I'm hearing you guys say, part of it. What have you done for me lately? We got some quarterbacks in here that, yeah, they've been good, but maybe they ain't doing what they need to do right now, right? Ty Simpson, Milrow, yeah, they got some upside and all this kind of stuff, but they ain't really hit it yet. I'm a little bit worried, and I can't cite any sources or whatnot, but I was kind of told that some of this actually came about because of, you know, was Milrow shopping himself around a little bit early in the off season, and they felt like they need to go get another quarterback. So I don't know what the deal is and who's going to be. We can't predict it and all those kind of things, but I do know it's going to be interesting. And this quarterback play is going to determine on how far we go um, in the season, regardless of how good the defense is or what other new people that we have. If we're not looking like we need to look, I don't even know that we're going to just be run heavy, go back to the old days and just pound the ground. I don't think so. It's kind
I
of
think
boring
we're gonna.
football.
I think it's gonna look like a Blake Sims led offense, and that offense
2014.
was
There you
fun.
go. 2014. Okay.
Okay. No,
2014.
I'm all right with that. I just want to be in it, win some games. I just want to beat Texas. I don't care who. I just want to beat Texas. We got what we
Man,
got to
you
do.
got Sarkeesian in that group coming to Golly. Then that's a
Mm-hmm.
night game too.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So that was the quarterbacks revisited. So let's go ahead and talk about.
Oh, one more
Our,
thing before we get off the quarterbacks. I don't think that Tyler Buck. So the whole talk was Tyler Buckner coming in and following his own OC.
yeah.
Does he have an advantage? Do we think that was? I don't think so. I think I've seen enough interviews from former coordinators and things like that have worked with Saban that have said that they spend their entire offseason when they get there learning Saban's offense and terminology. They basically just get to call the plays, but it's always Saban's offense. And that uh, tells me enough that Tyler Buckner is not going to be at an advantage coming here and following his OC because he's going
Mm.
to be learning the offense that Ty Simpson and Jalen Milrow already know. It won't be Reese's offense with whatever he was running Notre Dame. It'll have flavors of it, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be Saban's offense. So I'm going to put the dark horse as Tyler Buckner actually being the starter. I don't think him coming here has. I don't think he's
Ooh.
going to be the starter either way.
Ooh, JT
Okay.
bringing up. That's called the foreshadowing to what we're about to talk about because he led right into this deal of what we got to talk about. Tommy Reed. So I know Steven is itching to get on that because you up there in T-Town, you seeing what's going on.
Okay. So if Tyler Buckner is your dark horse, JT, I'm gonna throw this as my dark horse. This may shake the room up. Freshman Dylan Larnigan.
Hey, so
Mm.
I talked to not because he's actually it was kind of serendipitous that this even happened. You like that word, serendipitous? Um, I talked to his offensive coordinator.
ACT word of the day.
I talked to his offensive coordinator at whatever school he was in Georgia.
Brookwood.
Yes, and he was. I won't say hyping him up because that feels like that gives the impression he was trying to sell me on his quarterback going to Alabama. But he was definitely singing his praises. He was admitting kind of to me that his offense ran through him, and because he got hurt, that's why they lost football games. So maybe that could be the case. I haven't seen him. I was kind of hoping that he'd enroll early, but I know he was hurt, and the Alabama medical staff was looking at him and things like that. But I've heard very good things about Dylan Lonergan.
He did enroll early, JT.
Oh, he did.
He had the best stat line of the whole spring game.
Oh,
of all the quarterbacks.
I don't remember seeing him. I thought I just saw
12.
Eli.
No, Marty was number 12. He took the second team offense on like a 80-yard drive, and it ended with him tossing a touchdown pass to Justice Haynes.
Okay, well then there we go. Now, I also want to take issue with you saying that Tyler Buckner was my dark horse. I'm not saying he's my dark horse. I'm saying he is the one guy that I'm saying will not start. He's not a dark horse. He is the
okay.
He ain't getting a job. It won't be him.
Okay.
Mark that somewhere. Please mark that on this thing right here so we can play that back because he is gonna have the job. He gonna have the job.
Holding a clipboard.
He gonna have a job, man. I don't know. I just know we got to get it right. And so, based upon what JT's saying, so how does this? If it's Nick Saban just rolling out, forgetting all the terminology. I got that. You're supposed to do that as a head coach. I need you to. I know I'm right. Thank you, John. On you, fried check. That CZ, I still don't understand that. How that becomes. Check or Chuck, but whatever. So what does the OC get to bring when you come? Why do you want to come you just want to ride Nick Saban's name and say you're going to do that if you can't bring your own ideas, run your own plays? How much influence will the offensive coordinator at Bama have on the way the offense looks then?
I mean, I feel like Reese will have some. But like JT mentioned, Saban's going to look because all of this started with Lane Kiffin in 2014. So Saban's going to still have some of the basic Kiffin stuff that Kiffin brought in 2014. And then after Kiffin, you had Loxley add on to it. You had Dable add on to it. Sarkisian kind of took the top off of it. And now you bring – OB did some things too, but – I think Reese will have some influence, but I think Nick Saban will look back at that Kiffin format and go, don't you deviate too much from this.
But how are you going to fix the run game then? If all the progression's been the more just high-powered.
I think the biggest way of how you fixing that is, number one, you're going to have all physical dudes up front on that line. And that's the reason why Eric Wolford, this is a big season for him as the O-line coach because he's recruited some grown men. It's not can these grown men, can these guys be maulers? Can they be true run blockers? I mean, the last couple of seasons we've gotten offensive linemen that have been more so pass protectors, that have been more so run blockers. So now you've got Latham back for his junior season, McLaughlin back at center, Tyler Booker, who in my opinion, probably the best run blocker on the whole team. So you got him back. You more than likely will start a freshman on the line. Caden Proctor may be him, but it starts off with when you run the ball, get your hands on somebody. Goodness, put somebody in the ground. So
we ran too much zone though, man. We wasn't really like running a gap scheme. We wasn't running powers and traps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I think it's still you can still do that, right? Because like. Brian Dable ran wasn't that the 2017 year where
Damian Harris,
and I'm trying to think what year was it that Derrick Henry had like 46 carries. He had like 90 carries in 2 weeks.
Like 2015.
Yeah, so I mean that was still a Lane Kiffin offense. So you can still like
Derrick Henry though, man.
But
No, man.
And the thing, JT, that I have to get you with on Derrick Henry, like Derrick had to be the guy that year because you got to remember Drake got hurt the year before, broke his leg. You didn't really know if Drake would be healthy for real. Then you brought in a young Damian Harris, a young Bo Scarborough. They clearly weren't ready. So Derrick Henry had to be in the gym 25 hours a day. That man knew, like, I got to be the dude because nobody else behind me.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the style of offense changed dramatically between 2014 and 2016
Yeah.
under the same coordinator. And then you have Brian Dable who came in and was like, all right, we're not really going to be throwing the ball around as much. We're going to be a little bit more balanced, maybe a little bit more run heavy.
Until
Then
Tua.
right. And then Mike Loxley comes in and says, damn that, we're chucking the ball because we got Tua. And then Sarkisian went back to a balance with Mac Jones. And then Brian Dable just kind of comes in and was like, we got Bryce. So it's just on his arm, I guess, until he gets hurt. And then when he got hurt, nothing changed. So I'm just saying, I don't think that the system is the thing that's going to hold this team back on whether they can run the ball or not run the ball. I think it's going to be purely, can we actually put guys in the right spot to make plays? Can we actually lean on the things that they're good at doing?
So your answer to the questions you were posing to everybody before the show of will Tommy Reese be successful is yes.
Yes, I think he will be successful. Now, will he be as successful as we need him to be this year? I don't know. But I think I don't know how long his contract is. I think year 2, at least.
3 years.
I think you will actually be able to see what his offensive vision is. And I think by the end of year 3, we will probably be hoping that he resigns rather than leaving to go somewhere else.
Dude, we Bama, man. We can't be waiting until year 2 to find out. He got to come in with the junk, man.
Well, not if you
Like,
said his quarterbacks ain't no good. It'd be different if he was coming in here with Bryce Young, but he's not.
Yeah. All right.
Man,
So what do you
look,
say, Steven? Answer that question. Is he successful?
I
or not?
I think he becomes successful, and I think game 2 against Texas will tell us a whole lot. I think the second game of the season, because Texas's defense should be improved. Steve Sarkisian going to come in here with a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I think game 2 of the season, if Tommy Reese can outwit or outmatch Steve Sarkisian, that'll tell us something right there. So game 2 of the season is what I'm banking on.
You think that's going to happen, though? For real? I mean, you really feel, honestly, your gut right now, I don't know what you're allowed to say or whatnot. Does magazine owned by the university or what?
No,
You
no,
might
no,
not be
no,
able
no,
to
no.
say how you
Independent,
feel.
completely independent from the university. Completely independent.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't think he outwitted Sarkisian. I don't think he outwitted. I mean, Sarkisian's mad genius. I don't think he outwitted Sarkisian.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. We couldn't cover nobody from Texas last year.
Well, and Texas receiver room has only gotten better since then.
Pete Golden's gone though.
All right. See, I like how y'all throw these softballs up to you, boy. But before we talk about this defense, I need to take a 1-minute break. Don't y'all go anywhere. So while we're on this break, let me tell you about Tidewater Collectibles as well. This is where legends live. You see these little helmets right here behind me? They're brand new. They're custom made. They're custom made. Tidewater Collectibles. You can find them at tidewatercollectibles.com. Man, they did an awesome job of taking our logo, building a helmet for us, and making it something special. Are you a high school coach? Are you a college team? Or what are you? You want to get some things? You want to do fundraisers or whatnot? Let these people help you. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram at Tidewater Collectibles, even at Twitter, Tidewater Collie, the COLLE1, if you feel like doing that. So I am very grateful for them. They're just cool people. They're down to earth. I saw them up in Virginia and Chantilly this past weekend. They gifted me this. They even gave me a good cigar to have with them while we talked about good old Alabama football as well. So make sure y'all give these people a good look, a good follow. TireWaterCollectibles.com. All right. How you like that, Steven, man? We're
Man,
back. We're back in the
that is
house.
some magic, man. That is some
That wasn't even rehearsed. That
It
was pretty
wasn't
good.
even rehearsed. This is what we do, man. We just go ahead. It's the Teague Steak Show, man.
Yeah,
And JT
especially
didn't know
since I
what I was
ruined
doing.
the intro.
they need to replace Kirk Herbstreit with y'all, man. I mean, just for
Well,
real.
we're trying to work on some things where we can go ahead and we're already national with the podcast and all that kind of stuff. We got people from all across the country who listen to us, download the show, and all that kind of stuff. But we're looking at doing some things, coming closer to you, Steven, and getting on the radio and things of that nature. So we're working out some deals there. But what I want to get to is you started teasing us about the defense a little bit. You started talking about Pete Golden, but let's talk about Kevin Steele and what he brings. He's been in the SEC for a while, uh, been at our rivalry team. He does some good things, but can he really help us be elite again like we're going to have to be, particularly in the next couple of years to continue to stay there? So in your studies and the things that you've seen, you watched them at the spring game, and maybe you've seen some other things. How much does this defense change? Do they still run these two linemen in front? Or they got three linemen down, 4 linemen down? What are we doing now on this defense?
What we're doing now on this defense, the first thing with Kevin Steele is you see the juice. And by the juice, I mean the energy, I mean the intensity, because under Pete Golden, let's be honest, the guys are dead on the sideline, the guys are dead on the field. So going back to the spring game, you saw a lot of juice out there. Guys were flying around, shooting gaps. And what impressed me, it wasn't a whole bunch of thinking. It was see it, attack it, go get it. And that's what I enjoyed from watching the spring game. See it, attack it, go get it. I still think you'll have your three down linemen, four linebackers, and then you'll go to that 4-2-5 look, that 4-2-5 set. But I think for Kevin Steele, it's going to come down to who does he have as the two inside linebackers? Who are those two guys? I think number one, I look at Deontay Lawson from Mobile. And just when Bama's had an in-state middle linebacker, championships have come from that. We saw it with McLean, with Mosley, with Ragland, with Sean Dion, Rashawn Evans. So here is Lawson from Mobile. Will he call the defense from the middle? Will he kind of be your on-ball linebacker, attack from the weak side? It's going to be interesting to see where does Saban put him at. And based on where Lawson is, who's his running mate? Because you got several guys that can play alongside him, whether it's Blackshaw, whether it's Jihad Campbell, whether it's Sean Murphy, whether it's Justin Jefferson, your JUCO guy. You've got guys that can play alongside Lawson, but that will be the mystery here is for Kevin Steele, who are your two inside guys? Because if you can narrow those two down, and those two guys are head busters out there, which we saw Lawson last year in the time he got. He was playing. That cat was playing. So the two guys on the inside, that's going to carry Steele. Who will those two guys be?
JT, you agree with that, or are you thinking of another position that we really need to hone in on? He's saying, front seven, middle of the defense needs to be impactful. How do you feel about that?
I do agree with that. I mean, we haven't had a dominant interior lineman since Quinnen Williams. I think we've been missing that a lot. Somebody who is just because Quinnen Williams was just I don't even know how many sacks he had, but he was just disruptive all the time. He was just always in the quarterbacks. Huh?
So JT, so how many sacks he had? He had 8 that year, 2018. He had 19 tackles for loss.
Yeah, so I mean that's just ridiculous. And we haven't had that kind of production inside for a while. So then, I do think we needed to get better, a little bit better at the safety position. But I don't know that I think the impact, how much impact that we would have on defense if we had um, a Quentin Williams back versus, I don't know, name a good Minka Fitzpatrick back there as safety. I think we would benefit more from a Quentin Williams than we would from Minka today.
Okay. And so what I like that I'm hearing from both of you guys, and particularly in Steven's case, is that he was talking about they're flying around. They got a little bit of attitude. I don't feel like we had any of that. What he said was that he's letting them play fast, dumbing it down, letting them not think about it. Not to me. I think that's where we need that for the secondary piece because like we gave up too many big plays. I don't have the stats on how many over the top things that we had,
But they
but
were
they were
like all of
too.
them. I mean, just
They
look
were
no further than the Tennessee game.
Yeah,
How many catches
yeah.
did Jalen Hyatt have?
6 for
yeah.
207.
Yeah, see, and so that's where my thought is: how is he going to help them understand? So when I was on the game this morning, Tide 100.9, I was talking about the art of the position, right? Art, alignment, responsibility, and technique. How can you get them to understand how they need to line up? We just lined up, and we weren't even lined up, in my opinion, right? I know you're trying to hide things and all that, but JT can tell you a shade, one side or the other can really mess you up, and you need to understand what your responsibility is. And then, if they do want you to play like that, what is the technique that you got to actually have? JT's working on that as a defensive coordinator now and talking about technique. How do you backpedal out of there? How are you going to read the run and react to it and all that kind of stuff? But the first thing is you got to get lined up right, and you got to know what you got to do, and then you got to put the appropriate technique to it. So I'm really looking forward to see how they secure up this
Yeah,
secondary because
you
it
you
is a
called it
pass
art. I've been using ASKA, alignment, stance, key read, and assignment. And a lot of times it's not the assignment that's wrong, and a lot of times it's not even the key read that's wrong, but our alignment and our stance is off somehow. And I don't know how many posts we gave up in the state tournament in one game. But that was the fix. Alignment and stance. It wasn't what are you looking at or do you know what you're supposed to do? It was were you standing where you were supposed to stand before the ball snapped, and was your footwork correct?
JT,
See,
go
that's
ahead and
how,
call Nick Saban. JT, call Nick Saban. Go ahead and get on the staff right now as a GA or as an analyst. Go ahead and
no,
call Nick, JT.
no, because Nick ain't gonna be talking about no asker. Let me ask her something. I put the art in there. I get what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? But you got to add that, put that extra letter on there.
Well, we had to add the extra letter because you just use technique. So I mean, there's two parts to it. You know.
Bro, I can see JT right now on the staff with a whole stack of papers. Coach, I got you right here. If you don't slim that down, boy.
Man, Nick
Hey, look.
Saban,
Hey,
he
look,
can't
right
work
here.
for Nick Saban. He might go work for somebody else, but Nick Saban ain't for to hear all that.
Here's the entire book right here.
Mhm. That's right. That's about how big it need to be. That's it.
Hey,
So, all right. So I got to ask you the same question then. Both of you guys, I asked Stephen M. Smith first. Is Kevin still successful?
Is this for me first?
Yeah.
Kevin's still successful, yeah, because that toughness is going to be right there. Like I said, it all for me, for him, is you get those two inside linebackers right. They thumping, they getting downhill, they creating havoc. Because if they're able to have that quarterback think, I gotta get go of this ball now, I'm gonna get my head chopped off. Yeah, I think he's successful.
Okay. JT.
Yeah, I think he's successful for all but like 2 games.
Year one, or y'all giving him a pass on year one, too?
No, I think he will be. I think he will have an excellent season, but I think there are going to be 2 games that we're going to look back and be like, "Yo, what happened?" I don't know what
You
two
picking
games
them
those are.
games? Oh, okay.
I don't know what 2 games those are. I'm just looking at his time at Auburn. And it's like you can look at the first half of the season. You like, man, I don't know who's scoring against their defense, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, who is not scoring against their defense? Turned into the cure for the common offense, and I think we have more talent, so that's why I don't think it's going to be a whole half a season. But I do think there's going to be 1 or 2 games where we're going to have some problems.
Yeah, I agree. I think both of the coordinators will be successful. I really do. I think we're loaded too. We're going to have some talent. Offense, we got to worry about a quarterback, what that's going to be like. How can we run the ball? Defense, I still think is can he show up the secondary. I like the physicalness and the fierceness that I'm hearing. Some attitude. Need some people to step on some people's throats within the rules and that kind of stuff.
Also, also, Tig, if you look at the secondary, all of those guys, they're bigger going into this season. Like Kool-Aid's bigger, Arnold's bigger, Malachi Moore's bigger, Jake Pope is now near 200 pounds. I'm like, my goodness.
Dude, Jake
So
Pope
Yeah,
was just out there
yeah,
headhunting during the spring
I'm
game.
telling you, and I said this, and a lot of people are looking at me crazy, but you need that one wild guy like a Jake Pope on that back end because that's produced some championships too. Now, remember you had a wild guy, Benny Sunseri back there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of had a wild linebacker, caveman, and Dylan Lee. So here is,
Steve,
huh?
Steve, like I want this. I'm hearing you, but what kills? What kills? It ain't size.
He's trying to
It's
get you to say
speed.
Speed,
speed.
It's
speed,
speed. Now,
speed.
you can be big and slow, and that
I'm not.
ain't gonna work.
Jake Pope's not
I'm
slow
not
though. I
saying
think
he's
he
not
runs
slow.
a
Jake Pope
4.4.
ain't slow. Like Pope
No,
ain't slow.
no, we need 5 guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Anyway,
Well,
I don't.
You
I do think that you've got an abundance of safeties right now. I don't know who the well, I'm sure Caleb Downs is probably going to be one of them, but I think it's kind of a toss up right now between Earl Little and Malachi and
I
uh
think I think Earl is going to play nickel. They
okay.
kind of
So
they
who do you have as the other deep safety?
the deep safety. If I had to pull it right now, I would have Malachi and Caleb Downs. I would kind of have Malachi and Caleb. I still, and then you brought in Jalen Key as a transfer from UAB,
Y'all go
but
ahead and talk. We're having some sweet tea right
I
about
would
now. Y'all go
I,
ahead and talk.
I would go Malachi and Downs.
Well, what about
Oh,
who's the
Christian
one that
Story,
starts with a K? What was his name
Christian
starts with a K?
Story,
Christian
Christian
Story.
Christian Story could be a safety, but it's like Christian Story at times to me reminds me of Daniel Wright, where Christian will make one really good play and you're like, oh my gosh, he's it. And then he'll have like 3 plays where he's just flat burned. I mean, he'll have 3 plays where he is flat burned. And you're like, Christian, ah,
Can't do that though, man.
can't do that.
Don't take but one time. Don't take but one time. So, all right. So we got about 16, 17 minutes left, I guess. There's 2 things we need to hit. So let's get through the SEC. Sound like Mr. Stephen M. Smith. It's kind of cool, you know what? Because people ask me all the time sometimes, hey, do you know Stephen A. Smith? Do you know Stephen M. Smith? This kind of thing. And now when they ask me, do you know Stephen M. Smith? I always say, are you talking about Stephen A. Smith? They go, no. Stephen M. Smith, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy
Nah,
down there doing this stuff. Do you know Stephen M. Smith? I said, man, I try to get his autograph, but he won't give me shit. I've been trying to get him on the show every now and again. I got to pay him. I got to give him a big old check and all this kind of
nah,
stuff.
you ain't gotta give me
You
no
know,
check,
he,
man. Like,
he talking
really?
about when send it to my Venmo or my Cash App or something. So here I am right now.
Man, I'm trying to see when Stephen A. gonna mistakenly give me one of his checks. Put the wrong initial on there one time.
All right, so all right, man. We fast forward. People's like, man, why everybody all hyped and worried about 2024? We ain't even got through 2023 right now. What we think about this stuff coming on, man? With these, you got any hot takes just right now? When you think about 2024, the SEC schedule, what you first, Steven?
Oh man, not playing A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. That kind of sucks for me because I like the pig roast. I like playing Arkansas. I like playing Ole Miss. Mississippi State's always a good, fun, tough game. and then not getting a chance to look at Jimbo face, like, kind of hate that. But at the same time, going up there to see Oklahoma, seeing Brent Venables, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I don't mind that. You're hosting Auburn and Georgia. You get a chance to host Kirby Smart in Tuscaloosa. I'm
That's
down
gonna
with
be
that.
sick. That's gonna be sick, bro.
I'm down with that. Now, I would have kind of loved that one more conference game, sneak 9 in there. But I think Greg Sankey's building towards that.
Okay, JT, what allowed you? You kind of on the same lines, wasn't you? What he was saying about not playing certain teams.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really miss Arkansas. Like I didn't notice that Arkansas wasn't on the schedule. Because my first text to
JT,
you
You
was
didn't miss that bacon, JT?
no,
You
I
didn't
didn't.
miss that bacon, JT.
My first text to you was, "Oh man, now that I've actually seen this, I don't know that I like not playing the Mississippi schools. I kind of thought that was a little weird." But like you said, I have been on the side of, with the divisions and how many teams are in it, not playing essentially what amounts to like half the conference over a long period of time. Like only playing Georgia 5 times in the regular season is mind-boggling how that can be possible. And I think we had talked about it before, how Oklahoma and Arkansas have played against each other twice as many times as Arkansas and Kentucky. And Arkansas and Kentucky have been in the same conference for 30 years. So I do think things like that need to get better, where you are making trips to, like, I don't know when's the last time we actually played Kentucky. I know we hadn't played South Carolina in forever, and I know that Georgia has never been to Texas A&M yet. It's never happened.
I think the last time, JT, we played Kentucky, was that
I think
2011?
I think Landon Collins was still there.
So 2014 then, 2013, 2013.
Yeah, so it's been a decade, and you're not there. There's been a lack of rotation, and that some of that's due to, how many teams are in your conference? You only get 8, and you got to play 6 on one side. You got a 1 cross divisional, so then you only get to rotate 1 every year. So I do like that dropping that allows us to kind of like swap out mass amount of teams so that you're seeing more of the conference. But I also do know I'm going to miss the nostalgia of being able to play certain teams every year.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of excited about seeing it. Do you guys think anybody's going to even be able to, just looking at the schedules, how at that point in time we're going to be moving to a 12-team playoff? Okay, so is it realistic for a team to be undefeated out of the SEC now, or we're going to be pretty much have a loss or 2 or 3?
I think it's going to be very hard. I think it's going to be very difficult to do so. I also think that for that reason right there, that's why they did not go to 9 games. Because I still think that a lot of the public opinion and a lot of the committee is still of the mindset of you are what your record says you are. And if you have, for instance, a 9th game, so let's say you play 3 Power 5 opponents, right? And the 3 that you could play are Northwestern, Iowa, and Nebraska. Or you could play LSU, Arkansas, and Georgia. You can go 3-0 against the first 3, and you can go 1-2 versus the second. And your record is going to say, well, I beat 3 Power 5 teams, even though their names were Northwestern, Iowa, and Nebraska. And even though you lost 2 close games to Georgia and LSU, that doesn't matter right now. So I think that's kind of why the SEC is like, ain't no reason to add a 9th game, because all that's going to do is just produce another loss for somebody. and it doesn't matter who that loss is to. You don't get credit for play. You actually do not get credit for playing a tough schedule right now.
And that's bull. Steve, what'd you say? Steve.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a challenge, man, because everybody. Well, number one, everybody in the SEC is getting better. Everybody in the SEC is better. Recruiting is as tough as it's ever been at this point. So it's going to be
When you
hard.
say everybody, you including Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt
No,
has
I'm
gotten better.
I'm not including Vanderbilt now.
Vanderbilt's gotten better. They
When
beat
you say
somebody.
everybody, I just JT
They
got
beat
better,
somebody.
All right. So, with the exception of the GPA school in the SEC, Vandy, the SEC, aside from Vandy, is getting better. So, I think it's going to be tough for anybody to come out of this thing, undefeated. And I'm gonna say this though, guys: the schedule they gave Oklahoma, they may lose 4 or 5 games year one.
That's kind of crucial. Ain't it? I was about to say who. I'll come back to that.
Like Oklahoma's got Georgia, LSU, Arkansas on there. Oklahoma's got Bama, Ole Miss, Florida. like they literally just gave Brent Venables the huge good luck, man. And they just slid it over there to him like.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Lincoln Riley is sitting over in California like, see what they did?
So who adapts faster between those two? OU and Texas. Who catches up to the SEC and
Texas?
Says, all right,
Texas.
Because of money.
Because
anything else?
Because the money, because the NIL collectives, and because I think Sark is just that good of a coach.
I'm going to say Texas, but for slightly different reasons. I think it's all about marketing. I think that the reason A&M got as good as they did is because they were the only Texas school in the SEC. So they were getting, Alabama's coming to town, LSU's coming to town, all these other teams, they're starting to get name recognition. And that's why they were starting to win. They were actually starting to win recruiting battles over Texas because of the SEC brand. And that left all the others that were not going to A&M to be fought over by Oklahoma and Texas. Now, Oklahoma's winning a lot of those battles because Oklahoma was just the dominant team in that conference. But now that the playing field is relatively even again, they're all in the same conference and they all got to play each other. Now it's just going to go back to who is actually the bigger individual brand. And I think that has always been Texas.
Yep. I can agree with that. You might make our man David Duprell a little upset that I said that. Good friend of mine, Oklahoma fan. But okay, so we got about 5 minutes, 6-7 minutes left, and now we need to pull up this piece of good news. If you haven't checked out our website, teague.com, you definitely need to do that. We're building on this brand and making things happen. And yes, so you need. I know I kind of sweet right there. Look at them abs. I ain't got them abs no more, so I have to put it up a little bit. But JT, man, the analytical one is really come up with this deal of how to poll all the Division I schools, right, JT?
Yeah. So I have. So today we've released computer rankings for Division III, Division II, FCS, and FBS schools, all individually. So if your team, if any team that you can think of that is under the NCAA umbrella, they are ranked on the Teague's Take website and the blog at the end of the season. So what I wanted to show you, Steven, is the 2022 end of season rankings as per my computer model. And I want to know, and Dad hadn't seen this either, so I wanted you guys to look at it, tell me what you think, any kind of surprises you see. So you've got numbers on here. I'll make it bigger for you.
Yep.
We've got these numbers on here, so I have a note, but I'll explain to you real quick what these numbers mean. So these numbers are how many points better than the average football team is this team? So, uh, just taking these two, this is saying Georgia would be a 32 or 31.2 favorite over whatever the average team is. And Ohio State would be a 25-point favorite. So these two together, this would mean, by my rankings, Georgia would be a 6-point favorite over Ohio State. And we can scroll all the way down, and we can see that Florida International would be a 26-point dog to the average team, which means they'd also be like a 52-point underdog to Georgia. So let's just kind of scroll through the top 25 here. And let me know if you see anything that stands out to you that you think teams overrated, underrated, maybe just where they need to be based on season performance.
I don't know what my hate is for Michigan because I used to love Michigan. I just don't understand.
This it's because you don't like Jim Harbaugh. That's okay. I don't either.
Hey, before I say something, JT, I mean, I know we mentioned Nick Saban, but forget that. JT, go work for Vegas. This would be great for like sports betting, like right here. Like
pretty tight, ain't it? Pretty tight.
Oh yeah, I mean it's unproven yet. I'm gonna do this over the course of the season too to see how the model fares. But I figured some people would have some qualms with TCU being 8 because they made it to the championship game and whatnot.
They got drugged.
You saw what happened? No, that's about right. I think that's still kind of
but they say TCU beat Michigan, so Michigan should be higher. And the way this model works, it's kind of like a simple rating system. Basically, you get points for.
What did he say? SMU. They asking where's SMU on here.
Oh, let's find out. I'm gonna have to search.
He got to search SMU.
57.
Number 57. They're number 57. You on the Pac-12? Okay. All I know is JT got Air Force ahead of SMU.
By 0.2 points. It's equivalent. They're about the same. Hey, Air Force had a good season though.
They did have a good year.
They did. Okay, I'm sorry, sister. But he said, I bet you're a Roll Tide fan now. By the way, so I got to give a shameless plug real fast because he brought that up. This is now going to be an official site for our watch parties for the University of Alabama on Saturdays during the year out here at the Atlanta, 6205 Court Road. Make sure you come on out. You become a member of Tide in Texas, right? We raise money for scholarships. We do those kind of things. So go visit that website, tidentexas.com. You see about the banquets. You can know exactly where we're going to be. And I don't know. Maybe I can talk, John, and let me do the podcast remotely or something while I'm out here.
I do like Kansas State at 9 though, JT. I do like that one.
Well, good. I thought this was pretty reasonable.
I think it's pretty good.
When these numbers came out, I ran them a couple times, and I was happy with how it turned out. I was surprised that the model really liked Oregon State, but that's why I wanted to do this, because Oregon State has been like a perennial doormat forever, right? And they actually had a really good season this year. They might have beaten Oregon this year too, which hadn't happened in a long time. So,
the last time.
Can you go to the FCS too? I'm just curious because some of the viewers that might be looking at North Dakota State.
Yeah, the last time Oregon State was like really good, they had Sean Mannion at quarterback. So that's been a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, Stephen, I just need to remind you that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So while you're giving JT all these props stuff, his dad is on the show too, and
George,
I got the code. Huh?
George, I know you a certified killer. I know that you are a certified killer.
Well, I ain't even gonna pretend like I know how to do any of this stuff. This is kind of shocking to me, though. Right here, got South Dakota State up at number 1.
Hold on, Mercer 10?
Oh yeah. Now hold on. Now Mercer balled out this year. Mercer balled out. I wasn't aware that Sacramento State was doing as well as they did. You know, you hear a lot about Jackson State because Dion was there. South Dakota State
Ain't
did
there
end
no
up
more.
winning the national championship, so naturally. But these teams in the top 19 here, let's see, top 20 are not particularly surprising to me, except for
No, I
Idaho.
think it's good.
Further,
Where's your alma mater at?
Oh, we way down here. Let's take a trip.
let's take a trip.
They're
We're supposed to be
they're
heading
way
no, we're
down
supposed
here.
to be- Oh, one night team.
Yeah, no, they're not
Ooh.
good. Not good.
You just ahead of Valparaiso?
Yeah, and, you know that's what
Ah.
I was. That's kind of what made me mad about it because like there was when I was there, Valpo was like the Vandy of the conference. We're like, look, it
Yeah.
don't matter how bad we are, we're beating Valpo by 50. That's not the case anymore. Not because
Very good.
Valpo's gotten better, but we've gotten worse since Creighton left.
Hey, ain't Houston Christian a high school? Creep up there. What is it? What are we doing up here, man? No, man. This is awesome, JT. This is a great job. We need to make sure we promote this. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all be checking this out. Hit up Teague's Take.
Yeah,
Oh,
sign in.
Hold on, Alabama A&M that bad?
Oh yeah, Alabama A&M is not good either. No.
No,
They're the top 100.
barely.
Yeah, top
Yeah.
100, and there's only 130. I mean, it ain't.
Hey, man.
Yeah, but go sign in. Leave comments at the bottom of the. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me some feedback. I think at the start of the year, I'm probably going to. There's two ways I could do this. I could either do like the BCS and wait for 8 weeks and then publish the rankings. And once we have 8 weeks of data, or I can kind of take the last half of the season plus, the first half until we have, and that would really give credence to how you were the year before. But then, how many players leave and transfers and things like that, you might not get an accurate picture. But I don't know how that's any different than the AP poll. I feel like that's exactly how the AP poll works. So
That's right.
I just want to know, like, JT, how much time did you spend burning the midnight oil on this? This was a lot of midnight oil burning.
now
Yes,
I'll tell you one thing.
He does it. He does it at work. It's not midnight. He does it at work.
Getting
He's
the
colder
actual
by day.
rankings was not the hard part. The hard part was putting the damn webpage together and listing out all these logos with 130 teams on it. That was the hard part.
Okay,
Mhm.
it sounds like it would be.
Very,
Well,
very
it's just-
tedious stuff. But then I wrote a script to do. I did it one time and I was like, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm gonna automate that part. So that's what took a long time.
Well, if I knew where the round of applause button was on my hand-me-down board over here, I'd hit it.
I got
you. There you go. Yeah.
So for those that are listening to the podcast version and not on the video, go to teaguesteak.com/blog. You will find all of our rankings. And if you just go to teaguesteak.com, you will also find all of our podcast episodes.
That's right. That's right. Hey, we're trying to do a little something over here, man. So y'all stay with us. We do appreciate everybody for the follows, the like, subscribe, and doing all the thing, all the downloads. We do this because we love you guys. We love each other, and we love to talk sports and have a good time. And hopefully that shows. And we love having great guests on, like the Stephen M. Smith. I'm calling
Stop
Stephen.
it, man! Stop it right
I'm
now.
saying him because I have to say it. I said it off air. We don't do this, but we were trying to figure out which one is more white, which one is more black, Steven or Steve. And we decided that he gets to keep his black card because he is a Steven with the PH. With the PH, not the B.
If you've made it this far in the video, put a comment down in the comment section on whether or not he should be Steve or Steven. Let us know, and we'll make that change.
Oh,
I think if you didn't see his picture, you think he's Steve. If you're not
God.
watching this, you're listening to it on
Oh, hey,
Spotify
well,
right
Steve
now.
Smith.
You
There you
thinking
go.
he's Steve? You think he's yeah with the V? They think he's Steve. He said you Steven.
Hey, well,
Well,
Steph Curry ruined it for you. Sorry, bro.
well, he likes skin though. So
Steph
whatever.
Curry. Steph Curry definitely ruined it for me. Definitely did that.
So hey, listen, man, it's been a great show. We do appreciate you guys. Me and JT got a very special trip coming up tomorrow. You guys make sure you stay tuned for us. And in a couple weeks, we are going to return to Wednesday night. I can't remember the date. 2 weeks from now. Um, but we get the opportunity to go to Belgium, uh, flying into Brussels, and then head down to Mons, right into a football camp down there for a couple of days. Hopefully, I get to go visit some troops, and then we're gonna go see the country a little bit. I'm already got my bucket list. I've been there already, but we gotta JT. We gotta take the train over into France. I have not been in the Netherlands. I don't know if you went there. Were you there before? I don't know
No,
how
well, I
far
wanted to go, but
that train ride is, but we need to take that speed train up to the Netherlands. I guess head far north. See if we can get there. I don't know if we need to head over into Germany or not, but I definitely want to get into France and the
Uh, uh,
Netherlands are the two things that I need to do.
hey, Teague, take Marvin Constant with you.
No, I watched Marvin on Instagram trying to feed some fish or wherever he was, and almost got his hand bit off by something messing around. So I
now,
don't
I
know.
want to go. I want to go to the border of Belgium and France, or not France, Belgium and the Netherlands, where the border runs right through the a person's house.
Oh
What?
wow.
Yeah, so like
Oh,
their living room is in the Netherlands and the other side's in Belgium, so they got like two different law. They it's one of those borders that because it runs right through people's houses and things like that, they don't bother having like security checks. You can just walk
see
between the
y'all.
two.
This see y'all. Who even know this information? How JT know about this house? That's
Um,
like a.
JT worked with the CIA, the Scarlet Alliance,
Oh,
man.
well,
Yeah, well, I'm saying. It's
since
like
we're overtime, hold on. Let me bring back the browser. I'm gonna show y'all because
that's the thing. It's like what's the name of the place in Alabama? The Floribama, Flora something that where Florida. What did you say it is? Floribama. Yeah.
yeah,
Some city down there. Okay, what you got here, Jake? Oh, this dude didn't got a map.
yeah,
Uh,
dude, it's pretty dope.
welcome
Hold
to
on.
overtime.
I'm telling you, he went to CIA, man. I'm telling you, he is.
It's ain't really JT. He's clone. You know, he's an AI person right now. It's not even really him talking. Is we're just putting it in. And
It's his doppelganger.
yeah, what are you moving dots around on the screen? You moving people's city, man.
I was trying to just find a
That's the
Oh,
house.
no. There is a house. I can't find it that quickly, but it's here because they just have the line like painted on the ground. It's pretty hilarious, but I'm sure it's one of these.
I'm sure there ain't no train rolling through this little city that you're talking
Dude, I don't
about.
know. It's like a little enclave
How
though.
we gonna get there? You gonna have me
Anyway,
messed up.
don't worry about it. I'll find it for you. You can look at it on the plane. But yeah, you can see how crazy these lines are in here.
good Lord.
Like all these people right here
Well,
are apparently in Belgium, but if you leave this box, you're not in Belgium anymore.
well, that's gonna be fun. I guess we'll do it. Do these people get? He found it. Two houses with two. Does the time change? Two houses with two numbers. Barley. How you say that? Oh yeah, I see the little dots now
Yeah,
going
there you
right through
go.
the front door. Okay, well, you know, Mr. John Onion Fried Check is a kind of geek in his own way too. Um, he came up here today so I can beat him in pool before I head out of the country. So, if you want to bet on who's going to win the game of pool, just
I
go ahead
guess
and
leave
put it
that in
down now.
comments below. I'll take everybody's $5.
Yeah, that's right. He already owes me and JT steak,
Oh yeah, I
but
forgot about that.
he's been watching YouTube and taking lessons and all that kind of stuff. But whatever, he still scratched on the 8 ball last time, so he lost. He did better. But anyway, so thank y'all. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, do all the things that you do. Come back and see us in a couple weeks. Download it. What'd you say, Calvin? Yes, and come on out here to the Atlanta. We're doing great things out here, man. Great food. Now you got to try the BLT because I've been always talk about the cheese sticks and talk about the hot wings. But this is a great place, great owner. The only thing that I need to get past is he likes the Ravens. Some point time I'm going to make him be a Cowboy fan, and then it's going to be all gravy. But until later, we love you. We'll be sticking. We'll see you later.